Welcome back, everybody, to the daily show where I'll be breaking down the stock market. So, before we get started, please hit that like button, and that is greatly appreciated. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. Now, if you want to go above and beyond, support the channel and get fantastic daily trade ideas, swing trade ideas, live trading, and I'm doing actually 5 days a week right now. And also, long term and all the short term setups, definitely check out my link down in the description for Patreon. And now let's get right into the market. All right, so welcome back, everybody. And you can see the headline is out. S&P 500 closing at a record high on a shortened session, which was today. Market now closed. We closed at 1 p.m. And then market will remain closed tomorrow for Christmas, and then will open on Friday. And then next week we have uh, New Year, right? So it's a long holiday weekend or week, whatever you want to call it. But S&P 500 just moving like a snail and hitting all-time highs. But it's not all too good news. When you look at it, I mean, you can see Dow also close to all-time highs, up 0.60%. Nasdaq slightly up 0.22%. S&P up 0.32%, and Russell going pretty flat for the day, advancing 58%, declining 35 or 36%. So it was a pretty flat day. 11 sectors that makes up S&P 500. Look at this on top: real estate, consumer defensive, utilities, healthcare, financial, and then only thing that was laggard was energy and basic materials, but they led the way yesterday. Look at week to date performance right here, guys. And I want to focus here a little bit. Why? Because look at technology up 5% for the week. Communication services up 3.66. Basic materials up 3.53, and look at consumer defensive lagging behind real estate also, and then we have energy utilities, those are up, but you can see actually here on bottom stock market map, what do we have here on stock market map? You can see Costco, that's one of the play that I took a couple days ago, and boy oh boy, this thing delivered today and could be going up even more. Walmart was up also, but then if you look at the big names, what happened? Despite the rally on MU, up nearly 4%, Nvidia did not go up. We kind of, have a flat day on Nvidia. Google, same thing, flat. Meta also flat. I would call this Tesla flat. Amazon flat. Apple up 0.5%. Microsoft flat. Oracle up 1%. So nothing really big happening. When you look at fear and greed index, finally, back on greed, 58. That's the number we got. So, going into Friday's session, we need to talk about VIX. And I know a lot of people will say, well, that thing can go down even more. And I agree with that. But I don't think this is the time that we should be looking into S&P 500 for more upside, but then look into VIX for more upside. So let's get started with VIX. All right, so on VIX is down nearly 4%. And if you look at it, guys, past few days, I mean, this thing is getting absolutely slaughtered. Look at this, down to a new 52-week low, 1346. I mean, if you call this a range right here around that, 14 to 15 bucks, we broke that range long ago. And now the range is expanding to the downside, and this is the new low, down another 4%. Not to mention it was down yesterday, day before, Monday, and then we had VIX down, getting crushed. I think it was down about 11% last week on Friday. So why this is actually crucial? Because it happened before, and then we saw within just few days, 3, 4, maybe even 5, 6 days, a week later, VIX coming back up and the market heading lower. Now, if this thing was trading at maybe, let's say 16, 17, maybe even 15, guys, I would say market has more upside, and yes, it can potentially go a little bit higher. But as this thing getting absolutely destroyed here, guess what? S&P 500 upside is getting just limited. It's getting less and less and less, and there is a potential of a pullback because, yeah, you got those numbers. President Trump came out with that news that uh, soldiers will get that check, which is already out, and then he was hinting that the CPI would come in low because those are cooked up numbers. He knows already that I'm bringing prices down, and I'm bringing them down fast. And you guys saw how fast GDP growth was there, guys. I mean, just span of 2 months, it went like a rocket ship, right? So, do you believe all kinds of stuff that are coming out? Or if you look at the real economy, people are struggling, especially with high inflation, less jobs, and student loan. That's another one that's going to kick in very soon, where you're going to see people are behind. Mortgage, people are behind, right? So, VIX at this level, you got gold, silver rocketing to all time highs. Why? When did that happen last time? Well, last time it happened was back in 2008, 2009. Then what happened back in 2002? And we saw massive move to the downside. Now I'm not expecting crash yet. A lot of people think like when you put a thumbnail out saying that this is what's going to happen, people just think you're like blindly going and shorting or just going to crash. But if the market crashes, we'll know. It will go in a weekly downtrend, daily downtrend. It's going to stay down. It's going to get that bounce. It's going to get rejected. Not like the way we're going up now, but things can happen really quickly. And that's why when this thing is this low, as a matter of fact, all I see here is some sort of a falling wedge pattern. I don't know if you guys going to agree with me, but I can see that. And I didn't want to put that, especially, um, on my own. I wanted to put it right with the video so you guys can see it. And you can see it's there. I can even bring it up here. That would look much better. We're in a falling wedge type of pattern, and there is no room. Then maybe going into, let's say, next week, we get something like this, a massive green candle. And if that happens, things will definitely push higher. So watch out, guys. I mean, VIX is definitely at this level. We should be really careful. And I know the market went higher, but by how much? By how much? But this thing got absolutely destroyed. Market should be trading at least S&P should be trading at 7,000, SPY 700, but we're not there yet. It's a slow, really slow melt up, I would say. So be careful if this thing recaptures, let's say right here around that 14 bucks, which we did yesterday, kind of. Then it can go up to easily, especially even if we come up to top of the range here, that's around 17 bucks. And if we can break 17 to 18, which is this key level, we could be going into 20s, and that's going to bring the market down. I mean, that's a pretty decent upside when you look at VIX and when you look at the market for the downside. On SPY ETF, it's up 0.35%, and yes, brand new all-time high, closing after a lot of drama, coming down, going back up to all-time high, then pulling back and again back up. So it's only the first day, closing at a brand new all-time high. Now, why? I think even if we go higher, maybe another $5, or who knows, maybe we get up to that 700 mark. Why you can come crashing down? Because it's getting that Bollinger Band squeeze. That's one thing. Second thing, look at the upper band. It was right up here before, right? It could have been going there when we had this run up here and rejection. It didn't do that. And now we came back up, took out the previous all-time high, and look at where we are trading, guys. Right beneath upper Bollinger Band. Right underneath, right? So if this is going to, play out as some sort of a look above and fail, this is the perfect time for bears to take over. And possibly, I mean, you can see on Monday's session, we did not close the gap. This is a lie. The gap is still open here. We had a massive gap. And look at this, guys. This downtrend immediately, I mean, this is completely a B-shaped recovery here on S&P 500 on hourly. Look at this. Came down in B, gone back up to all-time highs. So what to look for come Friday, which I don't think, you know, it's going to be really rare to see the market down. I think we'll continue to chop. Maybe we hit another all-time high, maybe go up to like 692-ish. That's the highest it can go, possibly Friday. And people that are talking about Santa rally and why market should go up even more, well, just have a look at this. This was the bottom, and if you measure from the bottom to the top, we already went up 3%. And how much the center rally should give us, especially to the upside? 1 to 1.5%. So we already went over that. We doubled it. And you're still calling for more center rallies? It's here this year. We're trading at an all-time high with low volume because nobody is in this market, especially big boys are on vacation and they won't be coming back until January 5th out of vacation, guys. So, market can possibly just shop around. We might get some sort of a small, pullback, maybe $2, $3, but you're not going to see anything until next year. But we can prepare ourselves for next year, what is coming, because you see gold going up, you see silver going up, platinum going up. Why? And Bitcoin definitely not there. So it's not completely a risk on move in the market, right? Things are diverging. S&P 500, we break below that previous all-time high, which is what? 689.7. We get under that level, we could be going into that 685 once again, and then get the gap around that 680. And there will be support right here, 682 as well, because these two moving averages. And you can see how the Bollinger Bands are, just squeezing S&P 500 at this point. So we're going to see something big happening going into 2026. So here on Dow, it's up 0.57%. Now, this was the top where I actually got in with, I think it was 490 puts, I believe. I have to check, was it 490 or 485? It was 485. And boy, oh boy, the next day, we got paid big time. Look at the drop. Boom, all the way down here, right? And we still have this gap right here where S&P came down, even Qs came down. They did close that gap from this rally, but here on Dow, we flagged and we broke out, and now we're going back up to all-time highs, almost close to it. But look at the Bollinger Band on top coming down, right? It came down now slightly, just curling up. Nothing big though. So going into Friday's session and into Monday, there will be an update for the stock market over the weekend. If we can stay over that 484.44, it's heading back up to 489.66. And then we can talk about perhaps another all-time high. If things break down below 484.44, watch out for the support right below that 483.27 and underneath that 480 20-day moving average. And if it comes down underneath that level, then we'll talk about more downside here on Dow. On Nasdaq, it's up 0.29%, so nothing big. It's a really slow grind up, guys. Yesterday, we came really close to closing the gap at 617.62. We did not, and today things are pushing a little bit higher. So here on Nasdaq, watch out if this thing reverses from here, and that is why I'm talking about diverging. S&P 500 at all-time high. Nasdaq is still, look at this, 637, trading at what close to 620. So pretty far away, right? But it can get there definitely with Nvidia going up. It can get there, but it just not where I would say, oh, this is extremely bullish, and this could be some sort of a bear flag here too. And we're just not there where I would say like, oh, this is really looking good, and there is tons of upside left here in the market. So here on Qs, if we get pullback, watch out. This area should hold right here, 617. I think a decent pullback that's going to open up, and it will bring a lot more traders to the long side if we get some sort of a pullback into that 613 right here, this support zone, and then things pushing back up to the upside. Now, if this thing does not get that pullback, the next resistance to watch, that 626 range, and possibly even into this gap just below 630. We get under 617, 613 will be key level to watch. Underneath that, right here at 607. On IWM, it's up 0.25% and pretty much gave back those gains right after closing. You can see there could be some profit taking because of long holiday weekend. I mean, market will be open come Friday, but I don't know who's gonna be trading here in the market except algos, right? So good thing here on Russell that is holding that previous all-time high, now acting as a support. We went underneath that, but came back up and recaptured. But look at this, guys. It's just a bear flag on this daily time frame. If this thing breaks below 250, we're heading down to 248, 245 easily. Stays over 252, watch out for upside, possibly up here, 255 to then even retest the previous all-time high at 258. So on silver, I mean, this thing was down 1.5% today earlier, even on a short day. But look at the pump here, guys, 63.61, and this thing went right back up. But a couple things I want to put it out there that people are probably not even looking into it. RSI on monthly 90. Look at what happened before. Weekly, almost 90. Daily, 80. So things are not really oversold here, and definitely not something that you would look into and say, hey, let's just go and buy silver. It's just insane. We got a hanging man type of candle today, but the dip was bought up. So it's hanging in there. You can call this a hammer, whatever you want to call it. But the all-time high was hit once again today, despite gold going down and staying down pretty much the entire session. So the dip buyers are still coming in, but what happened last time? Let's have a look. What happened here? We had this massive, massive monster of a rally and then a gap down from 48.69. We gap down all the way down to 45.87. And next few session, we were down here at 41.68. Can that happen here? Absolutely, it can. And that is why going and trading right now, especially silver, it's just insane, especially if you're going to the long side and expecting more upside, even though it's trading at a brand new all time high as of right now. What's the dollar doing? We need to talk about dollar as well. Well, the dollar was actually green on the day, and then we got a doji type of candle, pretty much flat for the day. So if dollar rises back up, we almost came down to that double top. We had this double top look, and then almost reaching the price here on dollar. So if this thing starts bouncing, and don't forget, this key support on dollar, guys, don't even think about dollar that it's just gonna fall and there is nothing left. I mean, look at this key support that we have on dollar right here. And this is on a monthly scale. So it's a big level. And US dollar is one of the biggest thing out there. And if this thing is dropping like this and it's not gonna hold up, look at this. That trend line comes right about here. And that's a daily time frame. So we're still trading just above that. We came down here. What happened? Things came back up and we're just pretty much touching it, right? So dollar, this could be on the rise come next year. And if that happens, you will see S&P 500 and all the other indices backing off and VIX might be going higher at that point, but we only have a couple of days to get out of this market, especially to the long side. At least that's my view on the market. And people that are subscribed to my channel, you always know that when market is higher, my tone is different. When market goes lower and nobody wants to buy it, and I see a lot of crash videos out there, that's when we load up the boat. Right now, it's not the time, guys. And that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching.